and we shall get started. So today we are starting seated on a couple of blocks. I like them spread out, one block per butt cheek. And once again, we can sit in this way. Often when we've got a little bit of height, it can be quite nice for those with the open enough hips to stack one ankle over the other. If you need to be cross-legged, that's okay. You know, we're going to try and have it so the knees drop down on a slope and they are lower than the hips. And we just get ourselves comfortable there. And take a moment to drop in. So you can allow the eyes to drop down towards the floor in front of you, or simply allow the eyes to shut. Begin by just starting simply with a deepened breath in through the nose and slowly sigh the breath out through the mouth. Let yourself land. Let yourself land back into the body. As you release the breath, releasing any tension, just allowing the muscles to release and soften. I like to use this as an opportunity to allow the mind to also soften, any attitude to also soften. And eventually there'll be this natural inclination to seal the lips and allow natural breath to return. So just allowing this organic returning of the natural breath, sealing the lips once again and simply observing the flow of your breath in and out of the body. Making any small adjustments required for a sense of really well aligned seats. Shoulders hopefully stacking over the hips. And the crown hovering over the pelvis. You might even like a little wriggle through the spine as you begin to feel into each vertebra, as each vertebra has this like space, like a stepping ladder. And you can really feel this sense of spaciousness through the spine. If you're a little collapsed, you're not really going to have that sense. So just you might need to roll out the shoulders or release in some way in order to get comfortable and to allow that lift. The hips being a little higher than the knees will help, you know, allow the spine to lengthen out the pelvis. So we find the rhythm of our breath. We've been working pretty simply. The thing about diaphragmatic breathing, to me anyway, is that it's a natural breath. And we shouldn't have to force it. The moment we try and force a diaphragmatic breath, the moment we lose it altogether and we find this puffing up of the ribs and the chest, which is more thoracic or chest in nature. So I want you to just be as relaxed as possible. And rather than have this idea or this thought or attitude of I am breathing diaphragmatically or I'm increasing my breath, it is simply the act of receiving. So soften every muscle in your body and begin to deepen the breath. See if you can really create space for the breath to enter, like water flowing through a channel without anything in its way. We're going to start the counting when you're ready. We're going to inhale to the count of 4 and exhale to the count of 4. So we're equalizing our breath. We're finding that good, sensible, rhythmic way that is even and easy. And once you get really comfortable with the inhale 4, exhale to 4, I want you to find the pause in between the breaths. If you struggle with the pause at the end of the exhalation, just begin to observe, a millisecond there. Or you can pause for the count of 2 at the height of your inhale and pause for the count of 1 at the bottom of your exhale. We work towards inhaling for 4, pausing for 2, exhaling for 4, and pausing for 2. And that destination or goal that we have of this ratio breath, it may not be achieved today. So it's something that you can practice throughout the week, and I highly recommend that you do. It's very stabilizing. I use this breath all the time. I do different ratios, but mostly I start with this ratio pretty much always. I love this ratio. And there's something it's like building a foundation, building a really firm foundation of your home, having that fantastic setting, and it really makes you feel stable, strong and stable. There's something very stabilizing about this ratio. And then when you're ready, we're going to allow the hands to fall along the side, but they're not like limp, there's got some activity, and we're going to continue with the ratio breath, and we're going to add movement at the same time. So this is how we begin to learn to link movement and breath with some control. It's nice and simple here. When you're ready, we turn the palms out. We're going to inhale our count of 4, the arms up and over our head. We're going to pause for the count of 2 as we bring our hands together. And we exhale to the count of 4 as we pull the hands down the front of the body. And then we pause perhaps as we take the hands out the side and ready to inhale and reach out and up again. To the count of 4, we pause for 2 as the hands meet, and we exhale for 4 as we bring the hands back down through the center. Pausing as the hands get placed, and inhale, hands reach out and up, and you might like to now pause and look at the hands meet. And then as we exhale, we bring the hands back down through the center. And repeat. Inhaling for 4, perhaps pausing for 2 as you watch the hands meet. Exhaling for 4 as you draw the hands down through the center. Pausing as you place the hands. Once again, ready, inhale. This time, as we pause, we hold, we're going to open up to the right hand side, arms, wings open up, we turn to the right to look over, and a little twist. We inhale once again, so we're finding the rhythm of the breath with the rhythm of the movement. To the left hand side as you open your wings wide, turn over to the left. And then inhale after your pause, back to the center. This time to the side. Exhale, right hand is going to come to the right side to the count of 4. I can't remember. Inhale to the count of 4. We pause here, and then we exhale to the count of 4 as we come into the stretch. And then we inhale and reach back, up and over, hands meet overhead, perhaps a pause there as you see the meeting, and then exhale through the center. Hands can arrive at the heart as we stop here. just feeling into how you're feeling. And you can maybe rotate out the wrist a couple of times. And then we shall come off. Place your blocks on the side, perhaps ready for start. You might like to just kneel for a moment on all four paws and shake out your ankles and roll them out a couple of times in each direction. And our class is not long and we've started late, so we'll probably finish a little late because I want the hour, right? You know that. But we're going to get straight into it. We're going to come into standing, into Tadasana. I hope, yes, I think I've got that one. We're going to use those blocks again, so we've been doing that before. Have one just in front of you. Let's squeeze one in between the legs to start with. So you need to just find your comfort level with that. So squeeze it and just make any adjustments that's needed to be comfortable while you know, so the block doesn't ride up your ass. Okay. So we're going to have the feet at hip distance. Find your ground. One of the things about yoga is working with gravity. It is what makes us strong. This is what we really want to focus on, these opposing forces that we have in our practice. Gravity is the biggest pull that you really want to be able to work with and, you know, use that energy. So we press the feet down into the earth. We want to try and have that sense that the weight of our body is evenly spreading and, you know, it's weighted over the feet nicely so you can feel that even spread. And you actively press down. Actively press down. For me, and I don't know if this will work for everybody because we all have slightly different body types, right? But for me, I press down and then I slightly begin to rotate outwardly from my feet, almost as if I'm going from the ball of the big toes and rotating outwardly to the inner heel. And this brings this slight rotation of my inner thighs that helps me squeeze into the block. So it feels sort of pretty dynamic in a way. Once you feel that slight external rotation while pressing into the earth, you activate naturally in the hara, in that belly center we've been talking about. So just try and have a sense of how that works for you. Adjust the activation so it feels in good alignment in your body. So if that's not really 100% working for you, then make that adjustment so it does feel absolutely strong and integral for you. And then we turn the palms out, we inhale and reach out and up. We're going to just tap the hands and bring back down. And then we're going to repeat it, and this time bring the heels up the floor. Inhale, reach up, squeeze the block, squeeze into the block. And then exhale slowly, if we can, back and down. And again, inhale, squeeze into the block, lift the heel and the hands. You'll feel the belly supporting you, that lower belly. And exhale all the way back down. And last one, inhale, reach up, lift the heels, draw the lower navel in. And then as you exhale, drop the heels down, begin to bend the knees a little, drop the arms out and come onto the side. So we begin to dive down, keep squeezing the block and the hands are just going to come and pick up the block that's in front. Well, it's not going to pick it up, it's just going to hold there for a moment. As we come into the full fold, then half lift and bend those knees again. So I'm really trying to teach this bending of the knees as a way to keep really safe in the lower back. As I get older, I find I want to do most of my movement like this. So as a few of us are getting older, you might want to join me. Let's squeeze the block in between our hands as we lift up. Keeping the knees fairly bent, and then as you begin to really straighten the torso, straighten the legs, inhale. Exhale there, squeeze the block in, and then inhale, lift the heels off the floor, squeezing both blocks. Draw that lower navel into the belly. Exhale, drop the heels and take the hands back behind you. So now the block is sitting behind your head. The elbows are in line with your shoulders. They're a balance, right? Doesn't matter if it's not perfect. We squeeze the block in. And again, inhale, reach up with the block in the hands and the heels. And then exhale, heels to earth and bend back down. Buttocks are coming down, knees bending, hands out in front. So this is Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale here, and as you exhale, begin to simply straighten the legs. You can soften the elbows and come forward and then down. Then just releasing down. You can place the block back down on the floor. Drop the head towards the block or the earth, straightening the legs somewhat. And then inhale, bend the knees, drop the buttocks, and lift up, pressing the hands into the block at the same time. You're coming back into chair. And as you exhale, press the feet into the floor and reach the arms overhead. Inhale, lift the heels, squeeze the block. And exhale, drop the heels and drop the hands back behind you, squeezing the block at the same time. Lifting the elbows and drawing that lower navel in towards the belly. Towards the spine. And then lift the chin and drop your head back into the block like you're just resting. That belly will need to suck in a little tighter, or you might even like to bend the knees a little here to keep nice and integral through the lower back. And then inhale, lift both the blocks and straighten the knees. And let's bend the knees again. Bring the block forward or the arms forward in our Utkatasana, our chair pose. And then reaching once again forward with the heart, lifting with the sit bones and dropping the block, the hands down to the floor in front of you. Releasing once again the head towards the block or the earth. Leave the block where it is this time. Inhale, lift back into chair. So drop the buttocks, knees are bent, arms are shoulder distance or a little higher. And then this time just straighten the legs by pressing the feet into the earth and drop the hands alongside the body. Okay. Let's get rid of the block and see how this is going to feel without the block. Now we're going to imagine the block is still there so we can have that sense of drawing into the center. Let's simply inhale, reach the hands up, feet press into the earth. Exhale, sit down and, have everything integral like you have your block still there. Inhale, reach back up just so you're into standing. Let's drop the hands down alongside the body. Inhale, hands reach up, heel reaches up. And now this time bend the knees as you suck the belly in towards the spine and come into chair with the heels off the floor. Take an inhale there, and as you exhale, reach forward, drop the heels to the floor and allow the hands to come all the way back to the floor or to the blocks if you can't quite reach the floor. Let the head completely release. Roll out your shoulders a couple of times in both directions. Swing your chin from left to right. And then take a half lift once again. And then stepping back, this time with your left foot. Not this time, first time with your left foot. So we're into a sort of a runner's lunge. We're going to do that little half coil we did the other day, inhaling to lift the back heel, lift the hip a little bit, drop the head and tuck the tail. And as you take an exhale, you reach back into that back heel and you drop the hips down, you open your heart through your arms, you lift your chin. And inhale, coil in. I've got to put my hair up, I cannot see a thing. And exhale, stretching out once again. One more time, inhale, coil in, lift the hip, lift the back heel, drop the head and tail, rounding through the spine. Exhale to reach into your back heel, your front foot, your front knee, spine, from tail to crown. And we're going to lift off from here. So find the weight. Press that front foot into the floor, into the earth. Push against gravity and reach all the way up with the hands coming over the head. A little lift in the hip there, in the hips, in this lightness like we've just been doing. And then exhale, drop the hands back behind your head as you kick into that back heel. If you need to, bend the knee at the same time. And then inhale, this slight lift from the heel and hips and hands. And then exhale, this dipping down, but we're spreading out from that front knee to the back heel. Hands drop back behind us just to give us a bit of a break. And then inhale, lift it up. Exhale, drop it down. Inhale, lift from the feet into your belly, heel, hips, and hands. Leave the hands where they are. Exhale, drop the hips down. Breathing here for a couple of rounds. Getting strong and firm through both feet, getting comfortable through the hips. That back knee again can be a little bend if it needs to. Otherwise, we kick into the heel. That right hand now is going to come to the right hip. We're going to inhale, reach up, and exhale, slightly bend towards the right hand side. See if you can deepen a little into the lunge as you kick back into that left hip. And then inhale back to the center. And as we exhale, we're going to kick into the back heel really firmly as we reach forward with both the arm and the torso. So now we're like a shooting arrow. Just hold there for a moment. Take one more breath from heel to hand and exhale. Your block should just be there so you can place that left hand onto the block. It's going to be directly under the shoulders. So really think about taking your time before you come into things to adjust so your skeletal system is really nicely aligned. Joints over joints. A lot of the time that's what we're doing. Rules are always meant to be broken. So once we know the rules, we know how to break them, you know, with some sensitivity and sensibility. So we're going to press that hand again. This pressing down into the earth is what supports us to lift out with comfort. So press the hand into the earth. As you press that left hand into the block, you'll feel that it naturally wants to rotate the torso. So you can lift the arm, maybe even just the elbow if you prefer. And just find your comfort here. Take one more breath, press that left hand into the floor, into the block. Reach up with the right hand, reach into that left heel and reach away with your crown. They're the points that we're really working with. And then exhale, drop down. Hand drops to the block beside the right foot. The left knee drops to the earth. And we go Hallelujah. We're going to pull back on the inhalation with that right hip. Pull the right hip back and allow your torso to flow over the thigh, over the leg. We inhale and come forward again. There's this little rounding action. You can drop the head a little, really feeling all the nuances to release. And then we want to peak in the pose. So we want to feel that back foot beginning to press into the floor as the toes pull away. It's all fairly subtle, okay? So we're not like, oh my God, I've really got to work. And sometimes you do, but not in the flow. So we're just reaching that back foot away from us as we lift the chest, chin, and crown. And then inhale, push that front foot into the floor so it takes the hip back and then fold over that front leg. And then reach forward. As we come forward into the front foot, it's the back foot that helps support that action. Pressing into the floor, almost feeling like it wants to run away. We lift the chest and chin. And inhale, pull back one last time. You might take a breath there as you open up the breath into the back of the right leg. You can lift that foot nicely off the floor so you can get this nice stretch in the back, in the hamstring. And then inhale back into the lunge, Anjaneyasana. Lift up into the fullness of it. So if you can, we're in a full lunge now. Press that front foot into the floor and squeeze the knee in towards the center line. It's not coming out of alignment of the hip, but it's not falling out to the side. So pull out of there a little bit so you have some control again. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and we're going to step forward with that left foot. So it comes to meet the right. Half lift on your inhalation. Use the exhalation to bend the knees as much as you need to marry thighs and torso together. And then we're going to bend the knees a little more deeply so the buttocks drops. We're going to scoop from our lower belly into our chest. So we're coming up almost like we want to do a back bend. And then press the feet into the floor as the hands come out to the sides and up. And we lengthen from the feet all the way to the heart and crown, into the palms of the hands. You could look up and see the union, see the meeting of the palms of your hands, and then exhale as you bring them back to the heart. Just take a moment to feel into your body. Left and right sides, what's going on. Notice where your body's feeling the effort of the last sequence. Notice your breath. Notice your mind. Is it racing around? How has that practice, that sequence of events or postures affected you mentally, emotionally? We can begin to really sense into the bhava, the feeling states that underneath, the chitta, the mental activity. Let's start with the chair pose. So we're going to inhale, drop the buttocks down and hands up. You can have the hands shoulder distance or palms or fingertips together. And as we exhale, we lean forward with the chest and roll the sit bones up as we bring the hands to our blocks or to the floor. Release the head completely. We take a half lift. You might like to soften. No, you won't need to soften the knees for the half lift. We're going to exhale and step back with the right leg, the right foot reaching back. And we come into this runner's lunge. So just adjust the feet so they feel super comfortable for your spreading, stretching body. And then we inhale and coil in again. So lift the heel, lift the hips, drop the tail and head. Round through the spine, exhale, As you push into that back heel, bring the front knee forward, drop the hips down with the heart. And your eyes, so we're alive. Inhale, coil in. Back heel and hips lift. Exhale as you push the heel away. Front knee comes forward. Chest begins to open between the arms. Inhale, once again, coil in, drop the head and tail. And as you exhale, stretch it out, spread it out. And then we want to prepare for a lift off. So really begin to press into that top front foot and get a little light on your fingers and press, 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 lift all the way up. Maybe this little feeling of lifting in the hips and heel. And then exhale, we drop the arms back behind us. We push the heel away, we drop the hips down. Inhale. That front knee sort of comes out a little. I find I lift it a little away. And then exhale, I drop it back in, lining it a little bit more over the ankle. Inhale. Little lift, little pulse. Exhale, dropping in. Inhale, once again, lifting, reaching, leave the hands where they are and drop into the lunge. This is quite strong work, right? A lot of balance is required. So press the feet into the floor evenly as possible. So both back and front foot, feet, legs are working as evenly as they can. Keep the tail as long as possible when the crown reaching away in this sort of north-south axis. Take an inhale as you drop your hips down and reach the arms up, opposing forces. And then we exhale and drop the left hand to the hip and lean over towards the left-hand side. Open up the right gate of your body. Feel that heel wanting to keep pushing away the hand, wanting to keep reaching up, and the front knee wanting to always come forward. Take an inhale as you come back into the center line with your body. And as you exhale, begin to lean forward with the torso and arm as you kick back into the heel, kick back into the heel, kick back into the heel. You are an arrow. Woohoo! Strong, firm, ready for action. It's a killer, I get it. Take one more inhale from back, heel to hand. And as you exhale, just take the hand onto that block. Inhale, keep pressing the hand into the block and let that inhalation lift the left arm or elbow. Trying to keep the tail and crown in line with each other. So we can have a fairly open stance, but ultimately we're aiming to bring the heart towards the knee. Tail and crown in line with each other, shoulders stacked, opening through the spine. Take one more breath, press that right hand into the block, reach up into the left, from that back heel to the crown, shooting away from each other, and then we exhale, slowly drop that hand down towards the block beside the left foot and that right knee to the earth. Hallelujah. Right? This is nice when you reach earth again. It's like, woof, good. Let's pull back. Inhale, pull that front hip back, straighten that front leg. If you like, use the exhalation as an act of surrender to try and perhaps marry the torso and thighs a little more, torso and thigh a little more together. Then inhale and push forward. Electricity is just gone, just as well I'm not on Wi-Fi and I'm using my phone data, so I hope it doesn't get too cold. Oh, it's just come back. Inhale, pull back. That is so good. I was using the phone and not Wi-Fi. Drop the torso over that thigh. You can lift the toes, the feet right off so you can really be kicking into the heel of that hand. And then exhale, come forward. And really allow yourself to come into the full Anjaneyasana, the full pose of lunge here. Just because we're in flow doesn't mean we don't really pronounce each posture. Then pull back once again, and let's just take a dip with the chest, with the torso over the leg and hold for a breath. Breathing into the hamstring. And then inhale, coming forward. Wonderful. Let's step back with this foot this time, bringing our knees together on the floor. And you might like just a moment of swaying your hips from side to side, ironing out any creases that may have got in place. Going to bring our big toes together and walk our knees a little bit apart. Let's take our blocks with us, placing them alongside each other, long ways. And we're going to then lie down in a wisdom pose. I'm calling this with the knees wide rather than child's pose, so we can identify the difference there. And then reaching, we did this little cupping of the hands last week. I think that was in this class. So I want you to find your gecko fingers and come onto the tips of your fingers, making this nice sucking up into the hand of the heart. And we're going to walk away so we can lay the elbows or forearms onto the blocks and place our head perhaps in between. It doesn't really matter if you need some support for the crown, for the forehead as well. You can bring your blocks in a little closer and place the forehead on the block. Otherwise, we're walking our hands as far away as we can. We might even like a little smoochy play there and then just walk those hands. You can suck into the heel of the hands, pressing those fingertips into the floor. And as you suck into the heel of your hands, you're going to feel that come up in under the arms. Hopefully you'll feel that activation all the way into the armpits. Just try and allow the chest to drop through. You might like a little wriggle from the hips to assist. And then I want you to walk your elbows in towards each other a little closer so you can bring the palms of the hands together and bring them over your head once again. Walk your elbows a little more towards the top of your mat as you arrive there. And then begin to press the elbows, the arms into the blocks and to drop the chest and the underarm down towards the earth. And again, once you're there, because it can be a bit strong, we can just rock our tail, our hips from side to side, or release and press a little through the arms themselves so we can deepen and then soften to just help the body through any intensity. Deep breath here now. You might like to sigh it out of the mouth. And then you can bring the hands forward once again. Come back onto your fingertips. Look up. Take the blocks out of the way, out of the equation. Hands come now onto the floor. Press the palms of your hands evenly into the floor at the height of your distance. Sorry, my brain's a little funny this morning. At the height of the distance of your shoulder. Funny words coming out. Press them in, spread the fingers, and find that openness once again here in the chest. Perhaps some of you may be able to drop the heart, the chest into the earth now. Maybe some of you can just be able to touch the forehead to the floor now. And then we press the hands into the floor and come up onto all four paws. Tuck your knees in under your hips. Stack the joints of your bones. Lift the feet off the floor, shake them out. Tuck the toes under and drop the buttocks down to the heels. Inhale and round through the spine, dropping head and tail as you push forward to bring your shoulders over your wrists. And then keep rolling up in like up cat in this donkey cow pose. And then exhale, push back. I think it does look more like a donkey than a cow. This is why I said that. Inhale, push forward in what I call down cat. Keep rising up through the hips and heart into up cat. And then use the exhalation to push back into puppy pose or whatever you want to call this. Inhale, push forward, rounding in the cat pose. Stack the shoulders over the wrists and then into up cat and then exhale, push back. And then coming forward once again, aligning your shoulders over your wrists. Maybe you want to take your knees back just a little so we come into a half plank pose. So the whole body from the knee to the crown is sort of in one line. We're going to untuck the toes. We're going to make adjustments. We're going to begin to bend the elbows a little bit, just get a little bit comfortable with this, into the ribs, so we don't want them falling out to the side, but tucking them into the midline of the body. Lift your lower belly, and I will say it one more time. Lift your lower belly away from the earth and try and come down with a slightly rounded spine to drop all the way down, chest and belly to the earth, landing there at the same time. Forehead can rest down, hands are just under the shoulders. We rotate as if we're swimming through the shoulders. We rotate through the shoulders as if we're swimming. Backstroke to start with is usually the easiest way. And then we can do a couple of freestyle. Pools have opened again in our area. You have to book in for a swim. They have certain times. So if you're into swimming, I'm going to try and get back into swimming. It sounds wonderful. We're going to inhale and lift the left foot and look up, hands just staying under the shoulders. Exhale to release down. Inhale, right leg lifts, lift the heart, the chest, the chin. Exhale down and repeat it. Inhale, left leg. See if you can get a little higher. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Okay, now both feet coming up as you lift the heart. This time begin to take the hands back behind you, reaching them towards the feet, the palms facing up towards the ceiling. Inhale, open legs and arms wide. Exhale, bring them back into midline and just place feet and backs of hands onto the earth. Take a cheek to the earth and take a breath. Nice, full deep breath. Sighing out of the mouth if you need to. And then coming back to the hands under the shoulders, forehead to the earth, tucking the chin in nice and tightly so you can place the forehead there. Push the hands into the earth, this pressing back into gravity in order to grow strong, and resist by pushing all the way up into half plank. Walk your knees in a little bit more, and this time into child's pose with the knees aligned alongside each other, and the hands can come alongside the legs, hands alongside the feet. So, and just take a couple of deep breaths there. So on an inhalation, you can coil up and reach all the way up, hands over the heads, and coming into a kneeling position. Let's drop the hands out behind us and lean the body back on one stiff line. So we're working on our core here. You'll feel it also in your thighs. Inhale, lift the arms up. So the shoulders are lined over the hips and knees again. And exhale, lean the whole body back towards the feet. Engage the thighs and lower belly as you reach back in one long line. Hands can come forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, pull back, lean back. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, lean back. Good. Inhale, reach up with the hands, tuck the left toe, right toes, and as you exhale, tap the right heel with the right hand as you lean a little towards the right side. Use the inhalation to come back. Release the toes there and tuck the left toes. Left hand comes to the heel and we reach over to the left hand side. We're going to repeat it one more time. So inhale, untuck those toes, reach the hands up. Exhale, tuck the right toes, bring the heel hand to the heel and reach with the left hand. Inhale one more time to the center. Change the feet out. Exhale, leaning over to that left hand side. Right, nice. Inhale, reaching hands back up, both toes untucked now. Exhale as you sit back down and bring your hands back behind your body. And we're going to interlace the hands there. Begin here, this slight coiling action. It can be helpful, I find. Sucking into the lower belly and then up into the chest as you pull the arms back away from the body. So that sucking of the belly in and almost like taking it, undulating it up into the ribs, into the chest is going to help with this pulling back of the arms. You can just remain there or have the hands even sitting on the sacrum, tucking your elbows in as a modification. If you're super comfortable and you want to go deeper, we're going to inhale, lift the chest. And as we exhale, right over our thighs, bring the forehead to the earth and then roll onto the crown as we take the arms up and over. So really want you to be right on the crown of your head, not the forehead, not the corner of the forehead. And breathe a couple of breaths here. If you're super comfortable, you can drop your hips to the left and your hands to the right. And then you would take an inhale to come back to the center and the exhale to go to the opposite sides. And then back to the center, and then use an exhalation to just drop back into child's pose, releasing the grip of the hands so they lay on either side along the feet, forehead to the earth, breathing here. And again, on an inhalation, rising all the way up onto your knees, buttocks lifting off, hands overhead. Let's drop back into our leaning body. Press into those feet as you lean the body stiffly back towards them. Inhale, lift back to the center, arms overhead, and exhale, dropping back, and inhale, back up and forward. And exhale, dropping back. Inhale, lifting up. And once again, now tap the left toes, tap onto the left heel. Let's hold there for a moment as you take a nice full breath, really reaching in. And for those of you who are a bit more into your practice, you can really begin to open into more of a back bend than a side bend if it feels good for you this morning. And then release out, bringing Coming out with the hand supporting you, that right arm supporting you all the way, changing the feet out, bringing the right hand to the right heel, sweeping that left hand up and over, and just coming into the stretch, first breathing into the side gate of your body. And if you're super comfortable, you can begin to lean a little bit more into that left side. So you open a little bit more into a back bend. And then use an exhalation to come out of there and let that left arm guide you out super soundly, super carefully. Untuck both toes, inhale, let the arms float up overhead, make your knees comfortable. And exhale, arms wide. We're going to sit back down, bringing the interlace, the opposite interlace. If your left finger is normally in front, then we want the right or the other way around. You can take the variation I talked of before. Otherwise, scoop in the lower belly up into the chest. Take the hands out and away from the body. Use an exhalation if you're joining me to come across the thighs, forehead to the earth. And then the next inhale as you roll onto the crown of your head, taking the arms with you. Take a couple of breaths there, make yourself super comfortable. And if you liked it, you can drop down the hips to the right side, hands to the left. Use an inhalation to come back to the center and the exhalation to drop to the other side. And then inhale back to the center. When you're ready, you simply use an exhalation to drop back down into child's pose, hands on the floor beside the feet. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then as you're ready, you can slowly roll your way up. Coming off your feet, stretching the legs out in front of you. You might like to lean back into the hands and simply shake out those ankles. Rotate them out a couple of times. We've only got a short time left in class, so we'll be cooling down now. So if you need to put more things on, then please do. No, that doesn't apply to all of us. Okay. So we're going to come to lie, actually. I think we'll come to lie. I had a bunch of other things planned, but of course. So let's place the feet on the floor and back down. Easy rest with the knees bent. And I'm still really wanting to help you understand and connect with the hara into that deep belly center. So as we lie here, I want you to feel into that space in between the pubic bone and the two front hip bones. It's probably at least 2 inches down from the navel center. It's really in the base of the bowl, really in that deep center of your pelvis. So as you really begin just trying to tune to that area, to feel into it, I want you then, you can touch it with your hands, you know, I don't have to be shy about our own body, right? So you might want to press into the area just to have a sense, to gauge. And I want you to start these little circles around the sacrum. So it's a little bit of a hip action as we rotate around the actual sacrum itself. So it's a small sort of movement. And if you're unsure, you can have a look and hopefully you can see. I don't know how clear it all is. And then after a few rotations in one direction, I want you to change that rotation around the other. So nourishing for any sacral issues or lower back issues. And then this lifting, this tucking of the tail, just enough that we flatten the lower back into the floor and slightly lift the tail off the floor, the sacrum off the floor, and then to release it and pull those front hip bones towards the femur. So we feel the lifting of the arch once again off the floor, and then we drop back. So generally, I take an inhalation as I lift the front hip bones forward and round through, arch through the lower back. And then I use the exhalation to gently tuck the tail or lift the sternum off the, sacrum off the floor. And you'll feel the lower back flatten. So I just want you to feel a few rounds. It can be a little exaggerated, but still the movement is subtle. It's not lifting the hips off the floor. I don't want to see lifted hips off the floor, even though I am not seeing. And then we did this last week, so you can place the hands alongside the hips with the palms facing down. And we did this little bumpy thing. I call it the sacrum tap. So we drop and lift, drop and lift, drop and lift, really like a... So it's a very small drop lift of the sacrum. And it's a little bit like that shimmer I showed right at the beginning of class for those of you who were here. But done with the actual bone of the body, bones of the body from pelvis. So gently nourishing the area. There's so many nerve endings here. It really can be very, really warming and delicious for the whole area. So see how you go. And then just begin to, we can have questions after at the end of class if you're unsure about this. Then just let it go, relax completely, bring the feet together, let the knees fall wide as you bring the soles of the feet together. And for a moment, press really firmly, feet into each other. This is not a lazy moment of rest. This is a last moment of deep effort. Strong effort, feet pressing into each other and holding that pressure, holding that effort. Keep holding. Just a moment longer. And then let go of the effort. Just allow the whole body to spread, the knees to fall to either side. Take 1, 2, 3 breaths here, depending on how comfortable you are. And then whenever you feel compelled, I want you to squeeze the feet into each other again, bringing the knees together in the center and straightening the legs out. One at a time to come into Shavasana. If you need a blanket on you or socks on your feet or an extra layer, please take the time to achieve that. Otherwise, we'll lay our body along the floor, let the feet fall out to either side. Even in winter, we have this wanting to draw everything in quite close together, you know, but try and have the feet a little wider and let the feet fall out to either side. Take a blanket that's big enough to cover over all those areas so you don't have a breeze anywhere, and you can really still allow the we can actually create a warmth when we relax and allow blood to out. If cold is a real issue, you can wag feet so the whole body gets in the shape, and you can do that for a little while. I know that's not for you, Deb. You're nice and warm where you are. That's nice for you. But it's really coming into the cool parts for us. So take what you need, drop in when you're ready. Focus a little bit on the breath, particularly to start with, and if it's helpful, you might like a few rounds of inhaling now to the count of 4 and exhaling to the count of 6. Counting of the breath will always have an expiry date, an expiry moment. So just allow the whole naturalness, that organic approach to our practice, to let it just naturally dissolve in its own time. Whether you're counting the breath or not, I'd like you to come to the features of your face and just systematically release from the forehead to the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw, relax through your chin, the lips, your nostrils, the inner bridge of your nose, your eyeballs, place in which your eyelids meet, your tongue, the place in which your lips meet, your head, and the point at which your head meets the earth. your shoulders and arms. And the meeting point beneath them. Your back and buttocks. And the meeting point of the earth beneath it. Your legs and feet. And again, the meeting point. Your legs to the earth. As we surrender to the safety of the earth, you could just momentarily explore the space above you. As you play between earth and space, find the breath in your body. Begin to become aware, deepening the breath. Perhaps once again beginning to find the outline of the physical body. You can invite a little movement back in. Anything that feels appropriate to you this morning. As you're ready, you can roll onto a comfortable, uninjured side. Taking a breath in. And as you're ready, push it out. Coming to sit together one more time. Bringing your hands together into prayer at the heart center. That gentle bowing of the head towards the heart. For me, not just in honor of my heart's wisdom, but also in honor of the earth beneath me, of the greater wisdom of divinity. We find our breath and we
going to complete class with the chants Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So one full breath together before we begin. We breathe for the chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste.